So, thank you everyone for joining in on today's discussion. This discussion is both our first event celebrating the Erasmus Days 2020 and also an extension of our campaign Life Beyond EU Funding, imagining a new role for youth organizations in Europe. In this campaign, we advocate for an increase in operational funding to increase the impact of youth work. Welcome all. The meeting today will have we will make a brief round of presenting ourselves and saying hello. We will have a brief introduction from Nikos regarding today's discussion. Then we will be sharing some good practices on our experiences with Erasmus Plus, what went well and what could go better. And then we will discuss a bit of how to move forward. So for the first round of introducing ourselves, allow me to say hello. I'm Alexandros Vakoulas. Please call me Alex. I'm working on communication in Inter Alia team. And allow me to pass the ball for introduction to my left on the screen to Daniele.
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Daniele, and I'm director of Kairos Europe, an organization based in the UK.
Did you pass the introduction ball, so to say, to someone?
On my right hand side, there's Nikos.
All right, now I'm Nikos. I'm one of the founding members of Inter Alia. I am been working on this campaign for the past months, along with my colleagues from Inter Alia and of course the network of organizations all over Europe that is growing continuously until today. Maybe this is a good time to update also officially on the record that we are now over 140 organizations signing the campaign document. Signing the campaign document about EU operational funding and how it can increase. Some of them are also networks and unions of organizations representing a much larger number of organizations, institutions, and actually youth. So overall, although we have not hitting the original target of 200 organizations yet, we have a few hours left. It is important that there has been significant progress, and through the work of all of us and the network, we've managed to actually engage over 100 organizations that did not previously had this agenda to persuade them to join. And I think it's a quite big accomplishment for all of us. Cheers. And I would like to pass the floor to Peppa.
Thank you, Nikos, and thank you for inviting me for this meeting. I'm Peppa, co-founder of Open Space Foundation Bulgaria. Our organization is active in the field of youth, create opportunity for young people to make an experiment, to develop themselves, to participate in the different projects, activate them as volunteers, using art as a tool to development and to create and to encourage young people to be more open-minded and more creative. Thank you. And who will be Boroka?
Hi, I am Boroka. I am also working with Boyka, Nikos, and Alex in Inter Alia. And my involvement in the campaign is related to the materials that you have available, so the policy paper and the presentation. And as Nikos also said, the two-pager that I am doing right now at like the very end of, well, let's say of this phase of the campaign. So if you don't see me on camera, it's because I am working hard on it and it cannot see me meanwhile, but I am listening and I am here with you. And the next person to talk will be Matteo.
Matteo, we have
We can't hear you.
Why? So why?
No,
so?
no, it's fine. It's fine. No,
Okay,
it's fine.
fantastic. Okay, like I didn't touch anything. Internet and technology was very, very interesting. Anyway, I wanted to thank you, everybody, and especially Inter Alia for this initiative. I like my organization, Europamo, comes from Italy, and it's a network organization that try to connect youth organizations with youth participants to Erasmus Plus program. And we just recently were told about this initiative, and we jumped on board as soon as possible. We think it's very, very important to have this sort of operative funds for youth organizations that can really do something more than just, you know, like one-shot projects and things like that. Here with me today, there is also Gianluca Rossino, that is my colleague. I'll give him the word. Please, Gianluca.
Yes, I will be brief, but I'm Gianluca. I'm originally from Italy as well, and I'm the executive director of Europamo. Now I'm in Portugal for a job shadowing, but it will soon be over, so I will be back in Italy. And for us, definitely, this is a major topic to tackle, especially considering that more Mediterranean countries are facing this sort of lacking of structural funds that allow youth organizations to work, to develop qualitative youth work. So we hope that this campaign is going to be successful, but it's great to be part of this. And I will leave the floor to, let me see, to Boyka.
Thank you, Gianluca. I'm Boyka. I also work at Inter Alia. My title sometimes is network coordinator, so I have an overview of all Inter Alia's partners. So following on what I just heard from Gianluca about the Mediterranean organizations, and we already started commenting on this. Okay, there is an apparent trend that the southern organizations, let's not limit only to the Mediterranean, are much more interested or much more engaged with the campaign, which probably says something by itself. So we have, in the numbers, the participation from the European South is much higher than the northern partners. Thank you. I think Elena and Joanna are the ones who have not had the opportunity to speak. So Joanna.
Thank you, Boyka. My name is Joanna Simos, and I'm the Associate Director for Experiential Education at Arcadia University in Athens. I'm also an independent academic, and I research in youth work, sociology, and the impact and accessibility of education internationally and in Europe, with a focus on countries that offer the most support to those who have the least access to them. Today, I'll be talking a little bit. I'm currently located in the UK, by the way, so today I'll be presenting a little bit of my research into upscaled funding and the impact it can have on organizations using the UK and Youth UK as a case study. And handing over to Elena.
Hi all, my name is Elena. I will be with video short and then I will go offline without video again. My name is Elena. I represent Ecological and Youth NGO from Prevădarți. It's a city in Republic of North Macedonia. We're working a lot with youth and with ecological topics. And as ecological organization, it's very hard for us to always be chasing funds for keeping work. We always chase companies and so on. So many times the quality of our work goes behind looking for sustainability. It will be much better if there are like some structural projects or capacity building projects when you get funds to like 2 years to grow your organization, and then in peace you develop your campaigns and your work to be more productive and more effective than administrative as it is with majority of the European programs. So I hope with this campaign that we will put accent on quality of NGOs work than on the administrative and paperwork that we have to do also, and how to create sustainability strategies. That is in brief my presentation. Thank you for listening. If someone has questions.
Thank you very much. And this leaves Hugh to say a word and present himself. Hello, Hugh. Welcome.
Hello. What do you expect me from this?
Would you mind saying a brief word and presenting yourself, as we are streaming live for everyone to know?
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Sorry for my delay. My name is Yuk. I work in FCB as project manager and trainer, and I've been involved in advocacy initiatives for some years. Like, for example, I've been invited twice to the Catalan Parliament to speak before the law approval on volunteering. And yeah, and also as an organization, we have been involved in different initiatives at European and at global level with the Security Council of the United Nations, for example.
Thank you very much, Hugh. And this concludes the round of introductions. So now we pass the word to Nikos to make us a brief introduction on our focus today and share with us some thoughts about the contribution of Erasmus Plus to the empowerment of civil society and in general the civil societies in Europe. So Nikos, what is to you?
Thanks. I wouldn't want to take too much time. A brief just introduction about the thoughts we had when we started putting together this campaign in favor of increasing operational EU funding to youth organizations and organizations active in the field of youth. This comes not really by disregard or by a rejection of the Erasmus Plus program, but quite on the contrary. It comes from an appreciation of its contribution to European societies. And it also, contrary to other campaigns that have been ongoing in the past years, we're not requesting primarily an increase of available funding for youth organizations. Of course, they would be very much welcome, and we would definitely support such an initiative like the one by the European Youth Forum to increase it 10 times, make it 10 times more than the previous budget. Definitely, this is a valid argument. But what we're trying to emphasize on, as the timing is such and the EU budget has quite progressed, the process of accepting the EU budget is quite advanced. We are arguing in favor of replacing some funds coming from Erasmus Plus in the field of youth from project funding to operational funding. And this is because we truly believe that we can find counterparts inside the European Commission and in the policy making that would support such an idea. Because we truly believe that they also are interested in making a contribution and having a positive impact on European societies. And this is the main reason why we put forward this campaign in order to support the youth organizations in conducting better need analysis and having better impact with the underlying thought that if our youth organizations are empowered enough, in a few years' time, they will not be needing so much EU funding to proceed. We believe that they would be more sustainable, they would be more stable, they would have a better connection to societies and to stakeholders, and therefore it would be easier for them to survive without continuously requesting project funding. This is the main idea behind this initiative. As I said before, it has been quite well received, both in the policy circles, but also among the organizations active in the field of youth. In the following 2 months or a little bit more, we will be pursuing this agenda to Brussels and to local and national policy-making institutions. And yes, at this point, this is what I wanted to share. Alex.
Thank you very much, Nikos, for the introduction. So now we can move forward to sharing some good practices, sharing our experiences stemming from the support of Erasmus Plus and the implementation of different programs and actions. The questions that will be directing in some way our discussion would be, how could our work be upscaled and be more impactful with more steady financing? So we will have another round. And each speaker have chosen one or a couple of projects, and let's stick to about 5 minutes so everyone has the time to present. So allow me to pass the ball to Matteo, if you will. Would you like to start?
Yes, sure. Can you hear me? This is the first thing to check, I guess.
Yes.
Perfect. So today we are, as I said already, like we're a network organization that was funded at the beginning of January 2020. As such, we don't have many projects that we can bring forward, but we recently won a project, and we try to think about how this project could have been more impactful and, of course, upscaled if we have had some operational funding to bring it forward. I will give the ball to Gianluca, that is going to speak a bit about this project, and then I'll chip in for a final comment.
Yes, thank you, Matteo. I could actually also share the screen if it's possible, but the idea, I can start just introducing what the project actually is about. As Matteo said, we are sort of a newborn organization. We have been active for a few months, but definitely we got the boost of being sort of a network involving organization which have been active for years in the youth sector. So we started with the idea that for us, what we want to achieve is also an impact at policy level. And so we started focusing on the key action 3 mostly. So the youth dialogue project, where you have the opportunity to engage young people and decision makers. For us, that's a big channel in order to sort of bring forward the recommendation and policy proposals. So we developed this project tackling the European youth goals, since they are priorities right now. And for us, the European youth goals are also a way to connect young people and to make them understand what Europe is about and how they can contribute to Europe. So which priorities and which thematics they can focus on. And there is a bit of everything in the European youth goals. There is the importance of gender equality, of inclusion, of participation, of a green Europe, a green transition, which is also one of the most debated topics. And so the idea behind this key action 3 is we engage young people, we give them the space to gather and to debate over these youth goals, and then they can produce recommendations at local, regional, national, and hopefully also European level. What we see in terms of funding, and I also had the chance last week I had a meeting with Ecoris. They are running consultation on behalf of the education department of the European Commission of basically what's missing in the funding. And the thing about youth dialogue, they can really be powerful tools in order to engage young people to produce policy recommendations. But they only recognize the budget for youth exchanges in sort of what we know, which is a very limited budget, which yes, we can organize some activities, but at the end of the day, it is really complicated to run a process, especially in our project case. It's going to be 18 months. We are going to start officially in November, and it will last till the spring of 2022. So there are going to be many activities. I believe 14 different activities in 14 different regions of Italy. And obviously for us, it would also be interesting to sort of contact and connect with policymakers at EU level, with members of the European Parliament. And we also got actually the cutting of that specific activity. So we'll keep having 14 activities in Italy, but then we can just cover the sort of 3 days workshops that are going to take place. But then there is going to be an 18-month process. And about that, without structural fund, without operational funds, we found ourselves also in the need of asking our partners to do a lot of work without any financial support. And then also to engage young people that for 90% of their time will be volunteering in this process. But this is also a process that needs competencies. It needs sort of professional skills in a way, because we need to produce communication graphics, we need to connect policymakers, we need to organize events which are really interactive, we need to use non-formal education tools. So maybe we're going to need facilitators and trainers that can really contribute to it to make it impactful. So the idea is also this, I would say, very complicated trade-off between what the budget is recognized, and for the youth dialogue, there is also the cap of 50,000 euros overall. So it's already there, kind of understandable that many action will never be funded. On the other hand, there is the push of the national agencies and the Commission to have qualitative process, to be inclusive, to have young people with fewer opportunities engaged. So this is also a moment at the end of the program 2020, and hopefully from next year, where we believe that this sort of campaign will make a change. And the policymakers in the Commission, the European Parliament, drawing the new programs, the new program guides, they will understand that there is a need to invest more to guarantee this value. And I do believe that, yes, Southern Europe, not linked only to Mediterranean countries, but then Southern Europe, we really see a lack of structural and operational support. Well, for example, I personally know that organizations in Germany or in Finland, they do have structural funding from the government or from the region they belong to. And that way they can really focus on youth work. Then if they want to run projects, they have the space to run projects, but it's something extra. So for their target group is an added value. It's not like we only do projects because without the project we cannot do anything, because there is no funding. We cannot have a space, we cannot have Zoom to gather with them. So it's sort of a reverse process. But the thing is, and we also know this, and there is Greece, there is Italy today, there is Spain, the Mediterranean countries are the ones who involve more young people in the programs, whether it's for student exchange or for youth mobility. So it's also this reverse process where we can involve millions of people every year. We do have the capacity to do that, but then we face this sort of limits, because many times we work for months and then we have to hope that the project is going to be approved and put forward from the national agencies. So there is this very, very big challenge that I think is ahead of us. But thanks to this campaign and many other campaigns, this is the right moment to make it visible that decision makers need to invest more and to recognize the value that we can offer. I mean, I'm not defending all the organizations. I know that some organizations do not really invest in quality. So it's not so easy to say which one yes, which one no. But then there are tools. Now there is also accreditation under the Action 1, and there are many other opportunities. And there are organizations that really care about their target group, about the impact they want to have. And if we are talking about policy level and we want to do a continuous work lasting for a year, for 2, 5 years, then we need operational funding. We need funding that allow youth organizations to invest in human resources, to invest in the process, and then we'll see also what's going to be the impact. But we cannot pretend to have a big impact in 7 years, to be super inclusive in the programs, if the organization really struggles. And even right now with the lockdown and the COVID impact, it's even more difficult because we cannot even run the project we have. So it's also a new way of what are we going to do right now? So it's sort of reinventing ourselves. And I mean, this is the biggest challenge, I guess. But in terms of the project we are going to be running in Italy, it's going to be interesting also to see regional administration, national organization, governments, or other policymakers will be helpful and will also sort of contribute, giving co-funding or even giving spaces and opportunities to engage. But that's vital. So So it's not only about the co-funding, because Erasmus Plus is a co-funding, but still when there is a lack of funding from municipalities, from regions, from national budgets, then the EU policymakers should sort of having a look at this and sort of improve the accessibility and having more impact. That's most of the work. So we are focusing on this, and we hope this campaign also will make a change. So we are up for that, and we really are here to give our contribution.
Thank you very much, Gianlu. You touched upon a lot of interesting points, and I strongly agree with you that there is a discrepancy between North and South in terms of funding, and at the same time that it's going to be a very challenging situation with COVID and all the projects that have been postponed. This probably would have happened if we had operational funds, and would have been a little bit less challenging, let's put it this way. I just want to comment on the total points of this initiative to bring forward operational funding for youth organization. Fundamentally, all the funds for projects forces you to adhere to strict requirements and forces your creativity into a box. I believe that through operational fundings, you can actually implement a project or bring forward an action that it's actually on point and completely free of creativity, and gives you the chance to try to do things that are innovative and not always the same thing. This is just my final comment. Thank you very much, and I'll leave the floor to the others.
Thank you, Matteo. Thank you, Gianluca. So moving on, should we give the word to Pepa?
Thank you. I totally agree with everything that you say about lack of funding for the staff, for the offices and so on. In Bulgaria, it's the same. We don't have funds that support the staff and the people that we invest. And actually, this is the main problem in the youth organization, that okay, the program ensures a lot of education, a lot of trainings. Our active leaders going, they are well prepared. But when they return here and when you don't have money to hire them and to keep them in the team, they found a job in another place. So it's very hard to keep them around us. Yeah, COVID, it's another very big challenge in front of us this year. And the situation, it's very complicated for all of us. Just that I want to mention here, it's one solution that my organization start to implement. Actually, it's to monitorize our results of the projects. This year we create one app for phones that it's created under the program Capacity Building 2. This app provides educational tools for youth workers, for youth leaders. We provide for free with idea. It's already available for Android and for Apple, but our idea is to start to sell this app and to try, when I mean sell, not for the customers and for the company that can hire us to produce for them educational tools and to using them to educate their staff. So idea is to sell our services to the business, because obviously throughout the project it's very hard to survive the team and to manage our life as organization. Of course, here we need somebody, maybe not only one or two person, that should be very active in this, to selling this product and to try to find customers. And after that, you'll create a real process again to adapt educational tools available for mobile, for the distance learning. But at least we're in the beginning of this way and trying to find other solutions, because obviously only with the project it's not possible to live, and we should think how to be sustainable. These operational grants, it's a good opportunity, I think, but if you see them, it's very small from the whole budget. It's a very small part. Another thing is that they can go only for a few organizations. I don't know if you see the statistic, but for the last year, I think that was granted only 18 or 20 organizations for the operational grants. And even in one of our countries, we have huge number of organizations. So I don't know if this operational grant is a solution. For me, it will be more workable if in the project also we have some budget, especially for the organization. As European Solidarity Corps start to make it for the volunteering projects to have a grant, especially for a management cost. For me, this is more workable, and it's up to our activities and our creativity to have more projects and to be quality projects, and then to have in each one of these projects the budget especially for the team. This is my point of view. Thank you for your attention. If you have questions, welcome. Yeah, I can hear you.
Nico, it's kind of
maybe now?
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Just I had one brief comment on what Pepa said, and that is definitely a way out, being more entrepreneurial or trying to monetize our work and so on. But I'm a little bit concerned that an organization active in the field of youth could have a social impact and at the same time run as a business and be sustainable. So while I think it is definitely a way, it might end up being a way out, I'm a little bit concerned if this could go together with our actual social work and youth work. And what's your experience with this?
Nico, sorry, the connection is awful. I cannot understand your question.
All right, I will type it. I will type it on the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Right,
and Alex,
we
might move on if there are no other questions.
All right, as we see, the technical issues are not leaving us alone in time. So, okay, Nikos will relay the question through me, I assume. This far, some points are raised, and one of them is how to monetize in a way the results or some things coming out of the projects. We will return to Nico's question a bit when you can write it. So, Nico, if you agree to, let's go on with the next intervention, and then we can return to the question. So, would you like to share your experience next? We cannot hear you.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
I agree with everything that has been said also. We have never been coordinating organization for OKA2, OKA3, but we have been partners in several ones, like 6 or 7. And well, for many years, one of the main results from actions supported by Erasmus Plus were people who are participating in European voluntary service or in youth exchanges, that they were creating new projects, new programs, new organizations. Like the first focal point for youth information in the whole metropolis of Barcelona. For example, the European Youth Center, which is a public local service. It was promoted and created by one European volunteer from Belgium. And this is one of the examples, like many things were created by people participating. So they were inspired and they were creating really new structures, infrastructures and programs. But mainly the main thing we could share, the main practice we could share was like the last seminar we hosted in September last year that was titled Equal Volunteering Opportunities for All. And from there we came out with a policy paper with the whole definition for an online campaign to promote equal volunteering opportunities to all, meaning the recognition of individual right to volunteer as part of European citizenship rights. Since we found this is something we're promoting for more than a decade, and since the people and organizations we consider they should work towards this recognition, they were not active, we decided to host this seminar, and also to, and we're working on that without receiving more support than the KA1 seminar that led us to bring some of our partners together. And yeah, and we're still waiting to see the opportunity to move forward for this campaign. And yeah, most of the most relevant campaigns, they are not done yet. So we are like starting to promote different campaigns about recognition of rights, about creating the conditions for everyone to have same opportunities to participate at the political level, at different decision making, and also to recognize rights of individuals who nowadays they cannot use their rights, or they don't exist, like the right to volunteers, and one of the very few examples that we are more focused now. And yeah, there are many other things we would like to explain, like one of our projects that can have more effect. It's about creating the standards for all the projects supported by European Commission. I'm talking about sustainability standards. So the things related to recycling and using of natural resources that all the organizations could follow if they get the Erasmus Plus support. So these are two initiatives that we believe can have a big effect, not only everywhere in Europe, but for generations to come. So that's it.
Yüksel, thank you very much for sharing your experience. At this point, we have the question from Nikos, and it can be addressed to everyone. So the question goes like this. Could an entrepreneurial venture coexist with our social work and youth work? Was initially addressed to Pepa, so Pepa, would you please?
My experience showed that it's very hard. At least we need a lot of time to be focused at how to implement this and to develop skills, how to be a good entrepreneur. So what to say? It is possible, but it's hard, I think. We should juggling between these two tasks, to working with youth and to manage our work and to survive. But at least for us, it's one of the options to continue and to find a way to exist.
Would someone would like to weigh in on this question? So I think we can move forward. So Daniele, would you mind sharing your experience?
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, concrete examples from
Daniele, it seems, excuse me, sorry to interrupt. It seems we have some technical issues with your connection, Daniele. Can you hear us? It's interrupted at some points. So we will try, let's try to stop our video. So if it's a bandwidth thing, we will let you.
Is it better?
It seems better, yes. Let's try to go on like this. So let's make the effort of, yeah. Daniel, the word is on.
Should I stop the video as well?
No, let's try like this, please, but only if you will start from the beginning.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just wanted to share a couple of examples of what we experienced in our activities that hopefully can go to reinforce what's been said in the paper and can provide further evidence if needed of what we're trying to achieve with this campaign. And the examples come from some of the projects we took part in over our almost 10 years of experience. And one of these projects was, well, we've been working mainly with partnership projects, either for the exchange of good practices or also innovation projects, both as coordinators or as partners. And one of these projects was called Sharing Ideas for Social Innovation. And during this project, we engaged with young people in a sort of participative training where young people learn about social entrepreneurship, social innovation. And also they could, it was a platform for them to elaborate their ideas, to brainstorm, to present their ideas and get feedback from experts in the field. And during the project, the best ideas originated, were further developed and turned into concrete projects with proper business plan and all of that stuff. So we can say that at the end of the project, we generated some interesting ideas, and you know, we achieved the results in full, we can say, as we described in the application. However, we had a feeling that it was only a start, and we could have achieved much more if we had more funding available to continue our activities even after the project. And unfortunately, the project finished, and we could not organize more activities. Even if we were willing to do so, there's only so much you can do, because, you know, this is due to the logic that's been highlighted in the paper, where organizations, their priority is their survival. And so they need to look for the next funding opportunity. And this project also, inter alia, were partners. So I don't know if they have the same feeling. I mean, we had the feeling that we could have turned this into something much bigger had we had the funding available, but that was not possible. Also, the other project I want to bring up is a more recent one, where we during the project we developed a toolkit for youth workers based on a face-to-face kind of tuition. And during the at the end of the project, we should have had the last meeting of the project, but due to the pandemic, we had to cancel it. And later we were told by the European Commission that we could not claim the money for a meeting that we'd not taken part in. So the money had to be returned. And it would have been nice, in our opinion, would have been good if the Commission had devised a system where this money we didn't spend for the meetings could be diverted into something else to improve the results of the project. I don't know, for example, to create an online course using the toolkit that we had created. Also, in light of the need to improve the methods of online delivery of education online, that's been highlighted as a special priority by the European Commission during the pandemic, and that's also that will also be a priority for the 29th of October call. So it would have been nice if they had made it possible, to divert some of the money to improve the results of the project.
Daniele, thank you very much for sharing your experience. Now we can open our cameras once again. Next, let's go to Joanna, as we have some time restrictions. Joanna, would you mind sharing your experience and comments?
Hello, and thank you, Alex. So far, hearing everyone speak, I've learned a lot about the challenges, and they seem to be mostly associated to funding and the time restrictions linked to project work, basically, right? And that focus. If I could just share my screen for a moment. Alex, if you add me as a co-host, I can do that in a quick moment.
Please do a request to share the screen. Let me see.
I'm trying to, and it says host disabled participant screen sharing. So with a little my name.
Let me see. Multiple. Is it okay now?
Let me see. It most certainly is. Thank you.
Yeah.
So talking about the current situation in the UK, and based on an organization called Youth UK, which in fact mediates between organizations working in youth and social work, I'll try and answer Nico's question surrounding whether entrepreneurship can exist within the framework of social work and youth work. I think based on what the data suggests, the answer is yes, as long as we're talking about co-ventures with collaboration, cyclical collaboration, to allow passing on the end of a project or an organization's responsibility onto another. So this is all about creating a cyclical type of structure within organizations. What I have to share with you here is the ideal scenario, something that has actually worked effectively for the few organizations that have been able to link to a mediating network in the UK. And it's the idea shifting towards value-added fund distribution. So I'll be talking about the impact of upscaling on sustainability for projects and how it has actually worked out. An emerging model based on how these youth organizations have been collaborating suggests that first of all, the strength is in numbers and collaboration, beginning with kind of testing the water as a community of organizations, assessment of community needs via, for example, climate surveys, looking at national and regional data bodies and making open requests. So for example, this discussion today is doing all of that. It's accumulating information shared by partners across a network. The next step is realigning funds according to individual criteria based on the emerging needs. In the UK, those were making sure that youth work is targeting youth who are not in employment, education, or training, youth who belong to special education needs, who are coming from low-income families, young carers being maybe the most fundamental social group that we haven't focused on in the last decade. All of us on this call roughly belong to what we call the sandwich generation. We have aging parents, perhaps families of our own, so we're becoming carers to the extent that hasn't happened before. And then of course, another big one, mental health. The realigning of funds within a community offers leverage in asking for more funding, but it's also very depictive to funding bodies of the broader needs, and that's where the strength part of this data comes in. And then of course, excuse my co-worker here, I'm sorry. Third, broadening access to youth through subgroup specification. So building on the needs of the groups I've mentioned above and leveraging and discussing funding and upscaling it with these groups in focus. And of course, that means bringing projects back into alignment and targeting funding just where it's needed. And the results so far have shown that this does have an impact on making projects more sustainable, but also the impact is broader, has depth, and reflects well within a community using all of this information. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Joanna, thank you very much for your intervention. So this leaves us with Elena, if you would like to weigh in or share an experience. Elena, can you hear us? If it's okay with everyone, you're invited to open your cameras. So as we are broadcasting live, everyone can see who has joined in. So Elena, there's always the opportunity to weigh in. But if someone also would like to add something or make an intervention. Thank you very much. So
I would like to say something.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Since I study law, for me it's relevant to learn which are the laws and the system, because many times laws are really nice and they go for very relevant achievements and objectives that they are not being followed. So sometimes the laws are our best allies in order to move forward and achieve what we want. This is so sometimes it's good to, because, and for me the main rule about advocacy is to understand that they need us much more than we need them, because NGOs and civil society and young people, we are like really aware of the situations and the needs of many people who are not represented. So this is really important that they need us more, because we have this information, these capacities that they miss or they lack. So this is like we have to understand our role as equal with the political leaders and with the high representatives in that sense. For me, this is a crucial thing to understand, that they need us much more than we need them, and is the best investment of time and resources also. This is something we learn, because it's true that it takes a lot of time, but the impact, it will last for many years and will touch many people. So this is like the best investment also we can do in terms of resources as an NGO to work for these changes.
Thank you, Nikos. Nico, please unmute yourself so we can hear you.
All right. So I just wanted to second this argument by Duke. I think it is it's very empowering to hear so, and actually it is. I think it is absolutely truth that we are very much needed by decision makers. What I was wondering is how come we have become so disempowered as to try and play and try to be the let's say the best students, and how come that we are feeling so small if actually our potential and our capacities and our social role is so big. What came in the way, and if you had an answer on that.
This is an open question, so you, yes, please.
I mean, for me, it's important to understand what is our role, so don't make excuses and take action, because we're humans, so we're stopped by our own excuses, our own mental limitations. So probably because nobody has told us that we can do it, or we have no experience that it's 100% possible. Only those who have been being involved for years in this type of actions, we can say it's possible, we did it. If I did it, everyone else can do it. Maybe, of course, you need a group of individuals with high and compatible and very different competences involved. So this cannot be done by only one individual or one organization, but we need, of course, a lot. But sometimes we just need a small group of individuals, maybe 4 or 5 individuals with different competences, and achieve amazing successes in terms of creating new programs, creating new laws, and so on. So basically it's because we don't know, because we have never experienced that we can do it. And this is why we should also, I believe, as an NGOs, to empower people to understand that they can do that changes they consider necessary. So if we understand that this is our role and this is part of our capacities, then we have like 25% of the job done. If we want to do it and we believe it's possible, we have 50%. So this is like two things which are very crucial, and it's really up to us, I believe. Sorry for being so naive, but this is what I learned from experience, really. If you want to do it, it's partially done.
Other comments on this? We could have a second round of complementary interventions. Then concluding our meeting, as we have like 5 or 6 minutes still, let's discuss on the way forward regarding the campaign we're running and are advocating for the increase in operational funding. Gianluca, please.
Yes, on this, I just want to share that actually, yes, also last week, as I said before, I did participate in some consultation meetings and seeing also what's the position of the European Parliament on the programs. I feel that's really a matter of the position of the national governments. So one thing we should do is definitely to write to the representation of each national government at the European Commission, and why not to the Prime Minister, to the government, because at the end of the day, I think it's really a matter of how much funding they will recognize for the next programs. If the budget is not going to increase so much, then I think it's very unlikely that there will be operational funding. So I think it's a matter really of how much governments feel to put in the programs, feel to encourage young people. And definitely, I really like the idea of not the idea, but the reflection, the legal frameworks, because we are one sort of united body. I would say still, we cannot call it otherwise. It's still an international organization, the European Union, and then we do have very different legal frameworks. And we could do something that is sort of shared in terms of that, in terms of the education department, in terms of the youth sector. So that's also something that could be put forward. So it's not really only about the Commission providing operational funding, but it could also be a process, a policy process that then push the states, each one of them, to implement these measures. And so we do not have to sort of find an agreement between 27, but then it can just be giving recommendations, and the states should put something forward. So that's also a way to see it. And I think it's a complicated moment to do that, but it's also the moment to do it. So we have to keep pushing for that.
Thank you, Gianluca. So some more comments. There is still time for some more comments and seeing our way forward.
I just wanted to follow up. I just wanted to follow up to Gianluca's point about the national governments, and update a little bit about the future steps. On the one hand, what I would like to share is that, as you've seen in the policy recommendations of the campaign, we identify the fact that the operational funding cannot just jump from 2% to 5% and be effective if there is not a more general reform in the way youth and youth work is perceived, how social impact is defined and pursued by institutions. So definitely I agree with Gianluca in saying that we need to have a unified framework if this campaign, or any other for that matter, is going to have an impact. It is a very important part, and this is why the following step of the campaign, after the first part, that we try to identify partners and have them co-sign the document, is to actually come in contact with the local and national institutions and take their feedback on what we have in mind. And a part of this, of course, as you mentioned, is the government. We need to come in contact not only with the national agencies that are executive agencies, that are administrative agencies, and not actually creating policy, but also to the steps after them, to the secretary generals, to the ministries, and why not to the leaders of the state, because we put forward a valid point which seems quite practical, an increase in the allocation of budget, but actually what it reflects is much deeper. It relates to the whole operation of civil society and the civil societies across member states of the European Union. So yes, we are definitely on the same page, Gianluca.
Thank you, Nikos. And I think we have some final words on today's discussion, as we were exploring some experiences on Erasmus Plus project implementation and complementary operational funding. So if there's not anything more to say, I think we should renew our meeting for some time later on, as the campaign is still ongoing, and we are trying to reach for Nikos. Yes.
Yeah, like just a small point before you close the meeting. Thank you for hosting. Actually, I just want to point out to the people who are seeing us, who are following through Facebook, that this campaign had a deadline for co-signing organizations until today, October 15th. So this is the time to jump on board and support the campaign. However, there is no restriction. The document, the form where we collect signatures will not close down. Will continue being open for organizations that later on would like to join and share the argument. Just that in the material that will be created these days until Monday, let's say, we cannot include organizations that sign after this milestone, let's say, this deadline of October 15th. However, you are absolutely welcome to sign in later.
Thank you, Nikos. So there will be some continuation on this campaign. Our advocating is still ongoing. Today we have discussed about our experiences that involve support from Erasmus+, the opportunities, the benefits, and also some things that could be better, what the role of operational funding could be, and what we are presented with at the moment. So thank you all for being here, esteemed partners and people following us from Facebook. The Erasmus Days celebration is going on. As Inter Alia, we have 2 more events this Saturday, one from up close regarding musical expression in the urban environment. And of course, will be virtually presenting a toolbox on media literacy. Thank you all for being here today. Let's continue the good struggle for a more impactful youth work and better societies. Thank you very much.
Ciao, everyone. See you soon.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.